My name's Liam. I am one of the Hustle Brothers here. I have got my good friend Jacob Keeton, founder, well, not founder, but he runs that Spaces on X. Guys, if you haven't followed him, make sure to follow Jacob Keeton on X. We will be getting Space Investor on with us very, very soon. Chris will be joining us. I haven't fallen out with him today. He's running just a little bit late. But Jacob, how are we getting on? We're getting close to that $40, brother.
Dude, talk about blue
Banging
ball.
on the wall.
It was so close. I was so confident too. I was sitting there like in the chat, like going like, "Oh, it's gonna happen in the next 15 minutes," and then it just tanked.
What did we get? 39.75 at one point today, was it?
39.94 was the high.
94.
Yeah, hella close.
Jacob, I think the big news around today is that Telecommunications Orbiter. They did initially put their proposal in for the Mars Sample Return mission, and it is to include a Telecommunications Orbiter. Now, jumping into the Telecommunications Orbiter, we did go through it yesterday. It is to establish a high bandwidth connection back to Earth. It's not only for the Mars Sample Return, but it's also for when humans set foot on the red planet. I believe it's not just a project, a Telecommunications Orbiter just for Mars. I think this is the first step in what could be a massive project. Imagine these around the solar system. Imagine these around the moon. I just think we look at Mars now, but it could be a much bigger project. What are your feelings around Telecommunication Orbiter?
Well, I mean, first, like I guess we can go back. Like, the reason why they need this is because if you were to like send the Mars rover, the Opportunity or Curiosity or one of the rovers that are sitting there on the planet, it's really hard for the rover that's sitting down on the planet to be able to communicate all the way back to Earth or to our satellites in Earth's orbit. So it needs to relay the messages up to the orbiter, and then that orbiter will relay the messages back to the like receiving dishes on Earth. And the reason why, I mean, one, the Mars and Earth might not be facing the same way is a big thing. Like, you got to go through an atmosphere that way, boost the signal. So there's a lot of reasons why we have them there. And there are currently some there, like Lockheed Martin was at least one of the, I don't know if they were the prime or highly involved with the current communications orbiter that are there now. It's just that they're older and they need upgrading, especially if you need to do, I think that's why I think this is why they kept using high bandwidth, because like the terminology there, or part of it was because they, to do either more missions that are going to be there. So you're going to have like multiple bodies you need to communicate with, more rovers or sample return things, or we get to the point where we're sending robots or something like that over there, or people. You want something that could handle multiple connections and multiple and a lot of data sent through it. So my thing is once we saw it in the Senate bill, the proposal for it, to me it feels like they're at least getting a step of the way in there. They're like not abandoning completely anything to do with Mars sample return.
And then, guys, any of you that don't know, Tran did share it. Oh, was it 2 days ago or so? There is a 700 million contract for a telecommunications orbiter. RKLB were initially the only ones that submitted the proposal with it in it. Jacob, could you see more competition entering once the contract starts going in?
I mean, yeah. So this is on me, and I probably need to look this up before I say it wrong. I don't remember if that $700 million Senate committee proposal went into the big beautiful bill. I don't think it did. I think it's going to be part of the fiscal year 2026 budget, which is the next thing they have to work on, I think. So don't quote me on either direction. But once that money is appropriated, then they'll put out a request for proposal. The Senate doesn't decide who wins it. It'll be the agency, the contracting agency, so NASA in this case. They'll put out requests for proposals, similar to what they did when they did just the Mars sample return study, and then they'll evaluate the best proposal from there. They'll put all kinds of factors into it, and I'm certain that multiple companies will put in a proposal, but hopefully, we got the strongest case for it.
And then we've done. So when they submitted this, now I could be completely wrong. With the Mars sample return, I remember seeing a figure of $2 billion Rocket Lab have submitted for it, which was significantly less than some. I think some were up on 3 billion and rising. Does that include this orbiter, or is the 700 million contract going to be on top of that?
For the Mars sample return, how in its form it was during the study, the proposals that Rocket Lab put in did include the Mars Telecommunications Orbiter. It was 3 launches, 3 spacecraft, the telecommunication orbiter, then the Mars descent vehicle, and then the Mars return vehicle. And so it'd be like 3 different sat combinations. One of them is to land and come back. And they were about, I swear it was about $4 billion for all of that, but I could be wrong. And so that was that was their proposal then. And then in the Biden administration, they didn't pursue it anymore. So then it's like the initial proposal from the president, current president, was to axe the whole thing. It's only that this it's coming out of it, like the Senate. I mean, the Congress, House, and the Senate is who decides. They decide where money gets spent and how much. So on that Senate bill, there is $700 million appropriated for a Mars telecommunication orbiter. From there, may not be anything beyond that. There may not be a sample return rover mission or not. We still don't know. So right now, this is a dual use. I mean, or pretty much anything you need to use for comms over Mars, and that was. I think the $700 million is, I don't know if it's just for the spacecraft, the launch as well. I assume it's probably for both, but I don't know.
And then, guys, this is why I include that quote, "Dare to Dream." Here we do like to hypothesize a little bit. Some of you love it, some of you hate it. Now, what I was thinking with this is, look, they're looking to pay $700 million for one orbiter to go to Mars. With a human presence on Mars, you can imagine going forward they will need a constellation of these, because if they do expect to have up on 1 million people by 2050 or whatever they said, some mad wild number they are aiming for, one orbiter wouldn't be able to put up with the amount of communications needed back. So that way you would need a constellation. If you're getting 700 million per craft to go across, plus you're going to need to replenish them over a certain amount of time, it could be astronomical. What are your thoughts on that, Jacob?
Yeah, this is where okay, so then if you're going to take the approach that there's going to be 1 million people there by some amount of time, and it's let's say it's Starship that's doing deliveries, I think you would get the unit cost per satellite to go down a lot, because you're sending a bulk constellation. I wouldn't want to make a projection saying, nor would I want our government to pay for that. I wouldn't want them to pay as much as I want Rocket Lab to get all that. I wouldn't, that's wasteful. I would hope that, especially if it's something where, we do get the point where we need some sort of a constellation there, then it would be launched as like a batch set, and so the per unit cost would go down. But that's currently in Elon's big timeline of stuff, is to have Starlink around the planet there. So
do you think it's possible?
Yeah, possible. I think it will happen. I'm pretty convinced something like in that direction will happen. I just never trust timelines on all that stuff.
Yeah.
I think maybe I don't know, man. We'll see. Before the end of my lifetime, yeah, we'll have like some sort of settlement there, colony, but will it be a self-sustaining city? I don't know. It's going to be pretty hard.
And then I'll jump straight back to the comments. So Olga, hello, my friends. We're still waiting for that $40. Olga, do you know what? I believe it will happen this week. We're banging on that door. Mapbox at Aerospace on X is the one who I seen shared this inspective post in the RKLB Discord. He just expressed in a personal desire for credit given. But guys, make sure to follow Aerospace on X. And then EM, let's go. EM in the house. You know what, Olga? Got to support the bros. Guys, bang that like button. And also jump into the chat. Show your support for Jacob. He's after speaking to Ashley Vance. Jacob, how was that?
Dude, I'll be honest. I was going into it, well, a bit of personal drama going on in my life. But besides that, like I went into it with the thought of like, oh, I'll just have a conversation with him like we do anytime in any of our other things. I feel like I would have been a lot happier with at least my personal performance on it if I would have sat down and like had a bit more structure. I felt like I was rambling a few times, but that's just my own critique of myself. Overall, the whole event with all the other speakers and stuff in there, it was awesome. I mean, I don't know. It's been a huge fan of Ashley Vance's. Pretty much started reading his first read his book, and it was just really cool to get a chance to chat with him and hear his thoughts on the industry, and then like more specifically on Peter Beck. And I don't know, he did it like twice. He like teased around saying Rocket Lab is like Apple level secrecy in the sense that like you don't know what they're working on, and I don't know. He kind of hinted at like having some line on insight, something. Yeah, and insight on like what drives Peter, what makes him tick. And then he mentioned something about like he just wants to build, really fast, exquisite things or something like that. I don't know, man. All of us were just going nuts over on the side of it, going like, oh, it's got to be something to do with the EM drive or like the Hall effect thrusters, or some like, I'm like, it's gonna be. It's gonna be some, cut down the time for interplanetary travel down to like a couple weeks instead of months or whatever it is now. That's just crazy conspiracy idea out there. That, or it's going to be a rocket powered. This is the other one. It's going to be rocket powered boat of some kind. The hydrofoil. Maybe I'm just. I don't know what it is, man. Something's there.
No, dead honest. I proper loved it, and I think you've been a little bit hard on yourself. Well, not a little bit. You're being very hard on yourself. I enjoyed the whole thing. There was no problems with you at all. I thought you done absolutely amazing. And guys, if you haven't, make sure to check out Jacob Space's chat with Ashley Vance. There's quite a few more speakers in there with you. Great questions asked all around. And you know what? Overall, great guy. EM's just noticed I have blue hair now. I do have blue hair now, my guy. That was a bet with the VTOL guys. It was around 1,900 subscribers. I said if we get 100 subscribers in a stream, I'll dye my hair blue. So yeah, I had to follow through with it. And then Space Ghost. Now you did great, Jacob. No, I agree, guys. Jump in and show your support for Jacob. Me and Chris actually have said that you're always your own biggest critic when it comes. Like, we always listen back to all our episodes. And you know what? I go to Chris, oh, did I say something wrong here? And he goes to me, like, did I sound whatever here? And it's like, do you know what? It is what it is. This guy is making too much money now. Lol. I'm going to have to start selling my hair, my guy. Then, going back to the MTO. So I was speaking a little bit about Mynaric yesterday, and I did look at the transmission times and the speed of how microwaves travel in space. I was actually quite shocked that in the medium of space, in that vacuum, that it didn't matter whether we used lasers, whether we used microwaves.
Yeah.
Speed wasn't an issue. Microwaves were actually over long distances a little bit better for getting through them dust particles, but then the lasers do give that high bandwidth. We are seeing high bandwidth absolutely everywhere. Someone in the comments actually jumped in yesterday and told me that NASA fired a 1 centimeter wide laser towards the moon, and it covered a distance of 3 kilometers in diameter once it got there.
Yeah. So you're already on it. You're already like on what I was going to talk to you about with it was the difference of like when you're, because it's like if you have a flashlight. Have you ever play with a flashlight at night? You know, you shine it. It's a nice tight beam when it's really close. Then you go shine it at a wall. It gets wider. You go try to shine it at the forest or something like that. It blasts out. It's so hard to keep even like a laser over that distance. You can't keep the image sharp. It scatters. So even in a vacuum, it's like the light will.
And would that wreck the data being transmitted across?
Yeah, because this is my understanding at least, and I'm not an expert in this area, but this is my understanding was that like in fact China just did something similar where they fired from the ground. They fired a laser up at a satellite that was maybe orbiting the moon right now. And anyways, I'll get back to that. So as that beam scatters, as it gets wider and wider, the amount of information it gets, it's like fainter, or it's really hard to read. The information's still there, but it gets much harder to read it the fainter the beam gets. So if you're only looking at this part of the beam and it's way out here, it's the same information encoded there, but the ability to read it goes down. Like, I don't know what the curve is, but like it gets really, really hard to read it. And so that, even over distances like the moon to Earth is like the max that they've been able to do in some of those areas now, but that's going through the planet's atmosphere. So I was thinking maybe they're it's possible, but like that, yeah, the distances
is it more effort than it's worth to even try it?
At this point of the current tech, it is, because then you need a way more powerful laser to be able to like keep the signal strong enough to get the information. And then you're kind of like, you might as well have multiple radios instead, kind of thing. You're not saving yourself anything by doing that over that big of a distance. And then the reason why, like,
the all inverse square law.
Yeah. Basically, like the distance, it gets harder, like the double, like the further you go, like it's twice as, I don't know how to say it. The signal drops precipitously as you get further and further away. But the reason why radio waves, I mean, it's all electromagnetic spectrum, light or radio waves. We all say the same thing. Like it's all the same property, just the amplitude's different. And so radio waves that work better, or microwaves, because the waveform's way longer. So as it propagates out, you can almost think of it propagating out like a bubble, and that information is there. You just can read it anywhere along the bubble. It's the same amount of information because the radio wave goes through there. So when they're tuning themselves to Mars, the satellites or the dishes on Earth are to hear, the signal that's being sent there. They don't have to like link up with the center of the beam or something like that. And it's just propagating the bubble is there. And that's why they've traditionally used that kind of, I mean, that's how we communicate with the like the Voyager probes that are outside the edge of the universe, like edge of the solar system, stuff like that, because the radio wave propagates really well over like distance. Versus if you're using like a laser beam, you're tightening the beam in, and then because of the how short the spectrum is there. So you're instead of it being like this, you're doing this constantly over there. If you think of like a graph, and so you already have like so much more information has to be encoded there. But then the amplitude, I think, is right. The amplitude would shrink so much over that distance because you lose more and more of it as it propagates out. You lose the ability to read that information because it's such a high frequency waveform. If that makes sense. Sorry, Chris would kill me right now if we're doing the numbers.
It does make sense. No, it genuinely does make sense. Guys, we're gonna
somebody's gonna
Professor Jacob
up in the comments too. this is my what I can remember from engineering school / what I've learned looking into like spectrum stuff. But I tried to find the why they keep using the word high bandwidth relay though, and it's not based off of, I could tell, the specs of like the Frontier radios. So this is what they're saying, like in the like when the terminologies you were using yesterday. So there's some mystery there. I don't know what.
Something happened because it's 2 or 3 times. It's not even the once. Like, let me share the screen here. It's 2 or 3 times they do use high bandwidth. The user is somewhere. Yeah, high bandwidth there. Did they use that?
And I went and looked at the Frontier radios, and I didn't get a chance to go through all the spec sheets just now, but they don't use a similar terminology anywhere. So it makes me wonder, like, is there another payload or another third-party payload or something they got up their sleeve? I don't know.
And then yesterday we were talking an awful lot about Mynaric. But then I sort of got into Geost. And with Geost, they are sensor payloads. And for guys that don't know what sensor payloads are, they're basically the eyes and ears of your spacecraft. Now, I have wrote down here what sensor payloads Geost to use. So it's electro-optical, infrared, optical payloads for Geo and Leo, and then they can do custom payloads and laser communication terminals. So that's where Peter just seems to be going wild on lasers lately. I didn't know there was much of a tie between Geost and Mynaric until some of you guys were jumping into the chat yesterday and saying there's a strong tie between Geost and Mynaric. And then you only have to go onto Geost's website, and they say there's communications from robust, low-cost, autonomous optical ground stations to complete laser communication terminals. Geost laser communication capabilities offer the promise of securely moving large amounts of data over long distances at the speed of light. Now, Space Ghost put in here that Mynaric terminals are rated for 6,500 kilometers. Could we see the likes of Mynaric and Geost being used?
That was Mynaric trying to figure out what that was in miles.
Oh,
go ahead.
Miles.
You're good. No, you're good. I was trying to place it. Yeah. What?
Do you guys use feet and inches, or do you use centimeters? Feet and inches,
miles. Everything's imperial. Yeah, it's horrible.
Ooh.
As an engineer, I learned both because I mean, you just learn both of it. But like everyday common stuff, yeah, like the metric.
As an engineer, is that hard though?
It depends on where I was working at. Like, there's some industries that it was very like built around the imperial system. Other ones, or when I was in school, it was a lot more dual use. You just knew what you're working on and converted. The distance ones aren't so bad. It's when you get into things like, BTUs versus what's the other unit, like British thermal units versus what's it called? Not Kelvin. I don't know, whatever the metric version is of that, like different like systems for temperature or heat transfer, stuff like that. It get really confusing. Or pressure is a big one. Yeah.
Pressure? Do you use PSI?
A lot of times, yeah. But then I know that like Pascal's, like when I was working at Nikon, they use Pascals. They use a lot of metric for most of their stuff too. So just depends where I was working at. Yeah.
Every day is learning day.
To cut you off, but The 6,500
why
kilometers. I was like, how long is the U.S.? And like, I was like, it's like 3,000 miles. That's why it's close enough. It was like, it's about the distance from the East Coast to the West Coast of the U.S.
We'll move away from mine and Jacob's cultural talk.
Sorry, guys. I was just trying to put it together how far that was. I was like, oh, all right. That's pretty far.
No, but could you see them initially? So using the likes of Mynaric and Geos for that initial bridge between the rover or the space base and the orbiter, and then use the microwaves, or do you just think it's going to be your traditional microwaves the whole way?
I guess I think about the weight of the, like, you get a lot of data transfer with one of the Mynaric laser terminals, right? It's when if you have a lot of stuff you need to move quickly data wise, you want to use it, but you're also paying. They're heavy. Those Mynaric terminals are heavier than most like a radio or receiver. So you're paying for the extra weight there. At least from what I understand, if it was for like the Mars sample return, the rover, I don't think they would need that high, like, gigabit levels data transfer. That's more for like you're sending Earth observation imaging or ridiculous amounts of like cell traffic or something like that. So I would think that just off my initial impression is that they wouldn't want to wouldn't want to pay, like, basically wouldn't want to beef up the rover or the lander or whatever more than they'd have to if they don't need it. But I'm not sure. That's just my off the cuff answer.
No, thank you for that. And then I'm on OS. Big shout out, my guy. You seem to be on a roll when it comes to eVTOL content being thrown out. So guys, make sure to check out I'm on OS. Francisco, how are we getting on, my guy? Call in if you want. We're just having a bit of a chilled out chat here. Same with yourself, Space Ghost. You want to call in? Anyone, if you want to call in. It doesn't matter who you are. Just call in. You can talk to Professor Jacob here. We can talk about Imperial. We can talk about Metroid, whatever.
As soon as Chris gets back on, I'm going to get in trouble now.
Where is Chris, you know?
Yeah, he's late.
Brett says multiple relay points. And then Alan, it was actually Alan that was the one who shared it with me about that moon, about it disperse and go onto the moon. But laser beams get a little weaker, which has to do with the size expansion over distance. But radio waves expand and get weaker even more. This is why we use large dishes on Earth to help capture it. Is that going to be a problem, though, with a Mars mission, if we can communicate with the Voyager?
No, I mean, that's how we talk to them now, or that's how we talk to everything on Mars now is through something in the radio spectrum. The difference there, and he's probably Alan's probably right on the like the getting weaker. I think it just has to do with the fact that the frequency of the wave is longer, so that's why you can't send as much data, but you can still read it even if it is weaker. Like the amplitude's dropped over time. And I need to go back to.
This sounds so stupid.
I need to go back to my physics classes. I'm like blanking so hard.
No, this sounds so
stupid. There's going to be a test today.
But and this is probably a bollocks of a question. So if you don't know the answer, don't feel like you have to answer it.
But I'll guess at anything. Go ahead.
Is the information carried on one wave in that wave, or do you need a few waves to be caught for the information to be read?
Depends if it's frequency modulated or amplitude modulated or something else. So I only remember frequency and I only remember FM AM because of radios on Earth, like our car radio.
Yeah,
Amplitude modulated means that the information, the ones and zeros, are happening from the change in the amplitude of the wave.
Okay,
so as it's coming into you, the thing that's sending out is changing that. It's almost like it's saying, right, if it's here, it's a 1. If it's here, it's a 0, and then kind of goes on. And then if the frequency modulated says, like, I'm going to burst it this fast or this slow, which means you're moving up and down in hertz. And then that says, oh, if it's this many hertz, it's a 1. If it's this many hertz, it's a 0. So I'm using this symbol like that, but that's just a visual representation of it.
Yeah.
It's like a constant stream of information. I don't know how at all over that big of a distance, how I'm sure it's encoded. I'm sure that it's sending it in like packets enough that like you have to get like, I'm sure that there's basically like margin built into where it's based, it's doubling or tripling or quadrupling up the information or something.
No, thank you so much for that. And no, Chris, my guy, how are we getting on? Can you hear us?
I'm back, bitches.
Oh, you're back. You're back.
Man, I just had to hack into some. I did, man. I had to hack into one of my random neighbor's Wi-Fi because my internet's out, and it took like 3 tries, and I got it. So, yeah. So I guess maybe I'm just not as dumb as I think I am, but yeah, I made it. Sorry, I'm late. What did I miss, man? Anything good? Just except for Mr. Sexy here, Jacob. How we doing, buddy?
Oh, what's up, Chris? Good, man. How you doing? We're talking.
I'm a lot better now, man. I'm a lot better now. If I have any delays or my sound's bad, man, let me know. Sorry, guys, I'm late. But yeah, I'm in. Thankfully.
No, it's nice to have you here, my guy. Yeah, I was confused earlier. I was like, was it my sound? Was it your sound when we were sitting in the lobby? And then, I was there waiting, and then I was like, these two guys not showing up, and then all of a sudden, Jacob texts me, you haven't sent the link, and I was like, oh my god. And it just, you know what, guys, that was my fault. We were late. You're getting used to me. It's okay. I'm on OS.
I thought I was gonna go live from I honestly thought I was going to go live from my truck. I had great reception like 5 miles away, but whenever I got home, everything just shut down on me. I don't know what happened. We were messaging. I clicked the button to go in a StreamYard, and everything just shut down. So I have no idea what we've been to, and I don't know if you've already hit on what I think Johnny posted or commented in the chat. I'm sure we did. About telecommunications and Rocket Lab. If we did.
No, Johnny was asking about your tattoo appointment, so that's why you were late.
That's great. Yes, that's exactly what happened, Johnny. Tattoo appointment. Freaking hate you, man. Love you, hate you. No freaking tattoos, man. No tattoos. But hey, tomorrow I'm gonna be freaking late, and so tomorrow when I go live, I'm honestly probably gonna be on an excavator, either digging or setting boulders while we're on live tomorrow, because I gotta work late and I'm not missing tomorrow. And luckily it's gonna be short because of course we've got Jacob tonight, but again tomorrow night, as we know on Spaces, we do keep it short on Wednesdays so we don't overlap with those guys. But yeah, the adventure never ends here. We always have a lot of fun. So yeah, let's just get caught up. I'm sure we missed a lot in the chats. But great to be back. Great to have you on, Jacob.
Guys, if you do like hearing from Jacob, he does do his Spaces every Wednesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern time. Any of you guys that came from the VTOL side, look, we talk primarily about Rocket Lab here. In Jacob's Spaces, they talk about absolutely every space company you can imagine. It's open forum. You can call in, speak to the guys, any question. Don't be afraid. Like, it doesn't matter. Myself and Chris knew nothing about ASTS, and it was only through Spaces that we get talking to people. So, guys, make sure you, number one, follow Jacob, and then number two, join the Spaces tomorrow. Now, I'm on OS. After Elon and now Rocket Lab, seems the Mars dream is spreading, not just another fantasy. No, I definitely don't think it's another fantasy. I do think it is fully in motion. And if Rocket Lab say they're going doing it, they're going. Nah, to be fair, if Elon says he's going doing something, he does do it. He might skew the timelines a little bit, but he does do it. I was going to get a little bit political there, but I'm going to stay away from that. If there's a weakness in laser communication, I would say it relates to the tech being newer and less developed, the power to transmit and the ability to collect and detect. Space Ghost says laser communication also not able to transmit through clouds, weather. I think high gain. What is RF?
Radio frequency.
Radio frequency. There, Professor Jacob.
My nerd
that's-
glasses on.
That's why we have you, bro. That's why we have you. And you're right, Space Ghost, 100% right. But something Liam touched on yesterday, and again I missed earlier, so I might have missed out. But we're thinking more of telecommunications in space, where you don't have that atmosphere issue. So you're going from orbiting satellite down to the moon, or orbiting satellite down to Mars, or orbiting satellite down to wherever. And also that you have that communication in between. That opens that up for that ability, and there is going to be a need for that. Now, I'm not smart enough to realize, what the best solution is as far as space to ground to Earth. That's always fun to get into and speculate, but yeah, I think that's more of what we were looking at yesterday. But you're right, as always. That's something to overcome. I'm not smart enough to figure that part out. That's why we have you guys, man. Matter of fact, Space Ghost, if you want, man, we can have you on soon, and we can dive more into this, because I'm not done. Again, I don't know what you guys covered earlier, but I had time actually late last night to do some research. I'm not going to have time to get into it today. I just got a notification. I've got about maybe 35 minutes before this phone shuts back off again. So soon we'll cover that.
There?
Yes, it is blazing hot. Yeah, it is blazing hot. And it's one of those things, if I can go stick the phone in the freezer, then I risk cracking the screen. So yeah, just kind of gotta go. I didn't think this out, man. I was like, yeah, it'd be cool.
One of those little desk fans where you can just stick it, like clip it to the to your railing or something like that, and it blows on your phone.
That is a problem I have never had in my whole entire life. I didn't even know.
You live in Ireland. That's
do that. Yeah, put your phone in the freezer. My God.
Fans are high techy, man. That's high techy.
I just like a little clip one. I don't know.
An ice pack for your phone.
Dude, I'm about to go get steal my neighbor's AC that's hanging out the window, and just set it right here next to me on the deck, and just let it blow. Screw it, I can now the heat. I don't mind. My phone hates it, but I'm gonna be crying in the wintertime. I gotta figure something else out, because if I'm not here when it's cold, y'all are gonna realize what a little bitch I can be. But yeah, no, I'm limited on time, but I'll make the best of it. Maybe it lasts a little bit longer. We'll see what happens. Either way, we're having fun. That's what we're here for, right? To have fun and be a bunch of idiots.
And then Brett says lasers may also be used in relay to power light sails or plasma engines. Light sails is actually an interesting one. Now, the only thing is with a light sail, don't they primarily use sunlight for light sails at the moment? And then how is the laser going to be stronger than the sun unless you have it up close to you?
I mean, that was called a Starshot or Project Starshot or Moonshot. They were talking about that recently. I think the sad thing is, I think they said they recently concluded they can't. That at least right now we don't have the tech to get the these tiny little a few gram satellites to different solar systems yet. But I don't know if it's something where you'd be working against. As long as you're inside the sun's heliosphere or bubble, then I don't know if necessarily you maybe could speed up the lasers, speed up the sail or something like that. But I don't know. you could get a bit more powerful, but you just need to be concentrated, and that's a lot of power to continually push. But
what is it running Voyager at the moment? Is it nuclear?
What were you saying?
What's running the Voyagers at the moment? Is it nuclear power?
Yeah, they have. Yeah, all of the deep space stuff uses nuclear. You can't get enough power out there otherwise to make everything work.
Then, Alan, I
Fun.
suppose telescopes could be used to amplify receiving the signal. Jacob, you are brilliant. Jacob for president. Look, fan favorite as always. Jacob, you don't give yourself enough credit, my guy. Today, most lasers transmit by turning on and off.
I
Yeah.
said earlier when I was trying to explain stuff. That's how that's how they send it. So before I was saying like the radio waves like are changed here or they change the frequency, but light is like on off, like like an SOS signal or something like that. But it's happening thousands of millions of times or whatever. I don't know how fast it is.
That's actually smart as anything.
That's how like the optical you have optical Wi-Fi, like all the optical tables and everything is running around. The reason why we're talking to each other right now is all because of like light.
That's all pulsing.
I got something that'll blow your minds a little bit to wrap your just crazy brains around. So, GY Kiwi got me going down a rabbit hole, and they're able to basically take the sounds from space and transfer them and turn them into images. That's what a lot of this, I think it's called sonification, I believe. Something like that. It has a lot to do more with music and things of that nature, and it has nothing to do with Rocket Lab or nothing. You guys got me thinking a little bit outside the box there. But when you talk about communications, maybe 20, 30 years from now, they can actually take just basic sounds and take those sounds and turn them into actual communications, much like the rudimentary SOS. They were just basic sounds that was turning to communications. I think sometimes we
how did they detect the sounds?
I don't. You're asking Chris.
I was gonna make a really smart ass comment, Chris. I'm like, yeah, maybe in 15, 20 years, people will be able to like use these voice boxes and they'll form words and it'll be a sound where they communicate and maybe they'll call it talking. But I was just playing, Chris. Sorry.
That's great, dude. I love that. That's freaking hilarious.
Just kidding. I haven't heard of the transfer. I know they did something with like they said like this is what it sound like the sound of like Saturn is or Jupiter is, but maybe that's what you're talking about there, but I don't know. But
yeah. I wasn't saying like I mean you were talking communications, and I was thinking how do they even pick up the sound and turn it into images, and then I try to turn it into communications. There's really not a lot there. Just the whole sonification thing just is really interesting. So I mean, one of you said earlier, the technology. You said, Jacob, the technology is not there yet, but the possibility is there for a lot more than we're seeing today. And I think that's what gets us so excited about space, really, because it's new. I mean, there's so many possibilities. Yeah, that was a little far fetched, but hey, I've been looking at it. I had to throw it out there, and it was funny. Everybody had to laugh at Chris. I love this.
I'm laughing with you, Chris. Man, I'm just teasing you. I felt like I
was
man.
Bro, I love it. I love it. I love it. That's what we do it, man. That's what we do it. That's great.
Matt Money's in the chat. When is Lambo? Please advise. Big shout out, my guy. I hope
Lambo, bro. I told you Lambo is when you hire me to come build that big, sweet, $200,000 rec pond at one of your properties, and then Chris with the Lambo. That's when it's going to happen. I think you said Rocket Lab's got to hit around 54, 55, and you can afford it. So we're going to hold it to you. That's for everybody out there, by the way.
Matt, I do hope we can get you on again soon. Loved our chat. Everyone loved it. Great guy.
That was a lot of fun.
That
was a lot of fun. Matty fit in perfectly, man. He fit in perfectly with us. I think he had a lot of fun too. It wasn't the normal, hey, let's ask Matty 1,000 questions that he has to answer on a daily basis. It would just kind of sit back, chill out, hang out, talk cigars, just chill with Matty, man. Yeah, that'd be fun to do again for sure. Anytime.
And then Space Ghost, a lot of radio frequency signals are wider than single frequency. If you ever messed with the channels on your Wi-Fi router, you know all about overlap. Advances in laser tech is to vary the frequency of the light or color. Chris is late from his tattoo appointment. Jacob ASMR on Wednesday nights. Um, ideally, sending data streams using different colors bonds increases the rates even high. Lots of tech problems to improve. Alan, you seem to know an awful lot about lasers, my guy. You need to call in.
I love
one
these
of them.
people, man. These guys are great. This is fun. I mean, come on. I don't care what direction.
What we need.
That was loud. Sorry. That's just a lot of fun. It's just a hell of a lot of fun. You guys are great, man. This is why we do it. The people in the chats, keep it going. I mean, yeah, thank you. You guys are great.
And then Stepchild says 4 odd early investors had Kaipans.
He thought all the we're all supposed to have Chris's pond by now, right?
Well, Jacob hasn't out because he lives in an apartment or a townhome or something. I think he's lying. I think he's living on.
I know. I rent this place.
Yeah.
My expenses are tiny. I don't.
That
pay
looks a little bit like Johnny's house, no?
No,
I don't blame you. I don't blame you.
Hey, Johnny.
I don't blame you at all. But no, like there's a few people like Brett Krieger. I was like, hey man, when it hits a certain price, I'm doing a drive-by and you're gonna get a water feature and I'm just gonna leave a bill on your front door. And he was like, all right, maybe we can talk, you know. No, I joke a lot, but I do travel. I mean, that's part of what I do for my job. And in all fairness, I have been offered by a few people. I'm not even gonna say their names because it's actually very serious. It's just crazy how you meet people in life. And if it does happen and everything goes great for all of us, then yeah, I get to travel and see a few different countries and you know, do what I love doing. And then you know, we'll just go live from wherever that's at. Yeah, it'll be fun. Why not?
Hell yeah, dude.
He's
that's
talking about Ireland.
Oh yeah. No, well, then maybe we actually could see Ireland instead of I don't know what city.
That's what we'll do. We'll just do a live stream over here. Be all cool, won't it?
Yeah, we'll be able to see the green Ireland and not the I don't know, what is that, Chicago, LA? What do you got in your cityscape?
Virginia, isn't it?
I don't know.
No, he's talking to you, Bluey.
Oh, me.
Probably you.
Oh.
Yeah, your cityscape.
Oh, do you know what? That's where I'm sitting. London, is it? I don't know
Oh,
where
is
it
it
is.
London?
Space Ghost. Yeah, we're talking about Mars surface to orbit communications. Space Ghost is at work, but otherwise he'd hop on. Space Ghost, next time you're free, do jump on. I'd love to have a chat with you again. Guys, again, as well, if you want to know anything about Rocket Lab, do look up RKLB.wiki. Space Ghost runs that, and it is a cheat sheet. We do use it all the time, not gonna lie.
Wait, if he's listening, I gotta tell him something. You know that tweet you put out, Space Ghost, about the Geos and
this one here, I'll get it up.
Yeah, I sent it to you, but you know, you don't have Geos on the wiki yet. You have the acquisition, but you don't have all the great information you found about them. You know, when you get a chance.
Step it up, man. Step it up. What are you doing, Space Ghost? You only work like 24 hours a day, dude. Come on,
please have that by Friday.
Yeah, he probably already has it ready to go, and he's like, "I'm just gonna make you wait now, Jacob."
I feel so bad. Like I feel like I could like send him like I'm like, oh hey I found like this typo here, something like that. But I always feel like I'm like stressing. Like I don't know. I wish I could help him like actually update it versus just like hey this is wrong. Or yeah, he does a great job with it. Ed all does it for free on his free time. The brain. Great.
I don't know how you end up doing that, my guy, because you don't only have to have the most up-to-date information, but you have to constantly update it.
And you gotta deal with us. You gotta deal with us.
Yeah,
We're like, hey man, you're slacking. What are you doing? What do you mean you're working 18 hours straight? No, we appreciate all of it, man. That's why it's like, you know, it's a community thing. We say it all the time. There's no way we do all this alone.
Space Ghost, some insider.
Yeah, he's great. He's great. Yeah, can't wait to have him back on.
And then Brett says, once quantum computers kick in, they need laser relays in satellites for secure encryption. Alan says there are fewer clouds in space. Olga goes, oh, the doggy is so cute. Breakthrough Star Shot. It was called. It's potentially being worked on. Alan says laser excel narrow beams and keep the power concentrated. Iman OS says we'll have a lot to study for Rock Lab and ASTS. The last 3 months, I am waiting for a nice price, deep to $20 to enter, but I don't know whether you see $20 anytime soon, my guy.
Maybe, but maybe not.
yeah.
Hey, I mean, I'm all for that myself because I missed the boat. I'm not gonna lie. I don't see it, but anything's it's the markets, man. Anything can happen. Yeah. I think everybody wants it at that price right now, but yeah. I feel your pain, man. I feel your pain.
Let me close my calls first, and you guys can drop it down again.
And then Iman OS says Helium Island, Fort Scotland from the blue head. Yeah, it's natural, my guy. Woke up this morning and I couldn't believe it. Looked in the mirror and seen it. Hi from Athens, Grace. Big show, my guy. What time is it over there? I'm actually going to Italy this Friday. So my streams next week will be on the phone with a headset in. You will see beautiful Italy.
Oh yeah, by the way, Jacob, while you have you on, you think next week you can help us out one day and come on and host while he's in Italy?
Probably, yeah. We'll look.
Your schedule.
No reason why I can't now. Yeah, I can help.
Well, I mean, I didn't mean to call you out live. Like, hey, guess what you're doing? No, I'm sorry.
I mean, other than Wednesday night, would probably be the only time I'd say I can't do it.
Right. No, actually, I think we're just gonna skip Wednesday altogether because it just makes it easier. He's gonna be on vacation. The guys do Saturdays, so we don't have to worry about that. But we're gonna need a few people to jump in and help us out, and we discussed it last night already. So I know Liam was already thinking about it. So if you have time, DM us whatever date.
I'll do it if Johnny does it.
You know what?
That's the same day.
Awesome. Yes. Johnny definitely has to do one. That's great. I love that. Get some, Johnny. Get some.
Francisco says, "Do you want to know the sound that Dylan makes?" Lol. Alan says you can bounce lasers off windows and hear the sounds inside the room. Spy tech. How do you know things like this? Like,
I remember something like that from class, but I don't remember how it works exactly. Like it, I don't know. It's something like it will change. The window vibrates, and then you can get like the change in the laser light bouncing back or something like that. That's how they do that, and that's real. It's not like that.
Yeah.
That's since like the '60s or something crazy. Yeah.
Iman OS says hi, Lambo man. Then it is 2:36, 2 hours ahead of me. Ooh, you are up late, my guy. And then Johnny says Trump announces trade agreements with 7 different countries tomorrow. I actually didn't see that.
Must have just been announced.
Blue, what?
I wonder what countries he's talking about.
EU,
maybe?
EU, didn't they offer? He offered them a deal of 10%, but I don't know what the caveats were to that. I'm sure it wasn't as simple as just take 10%. For me, look, investing wise, I want the best deal possible for the US. For me in Europe, I don't want them to cripple me. I might not be able to come streaming. Trump might cripple me here. Francisco, I can jump in one day with Johnny. We got you guys. There we go.
We're
building up a little team here. No, thank you guys.
Yeah, we don't do without you guys. That's awesome. Thank you.
I was already gonna hit you guys. What we gotta do? Yeah, we gotta tell Johnny that he's going on with Francisco, and then when he lands in, Jacob's there.
This is too easy, man. You guys are amazing. You guys are absolutely amazing. Thank you so much.
No,
I'll just comment on their stream a bunch, harass them.
And then
you'll probably come on with like pages and pages of numbers for the first half hour and drive me insane. That's probably what you're gonna do. I mean, let's be honest.
No way, man. I caught myself doing it earlier with Leo, and I was like, "Oh, Chris would scold me if he was here right now."
No, we joke, man. That's the reason why we have you, so I don't have to think about it. Like, just ask Jacob or ask somebody else. I don't have to think about it. Let them do it.
And then, guys, make sure to bang that like button to show your support. The more likes we get, the further out into the community we go. Do you know what? Yesterday, we were ranking number 2 for the search on RKLB. Today, we're not. Now and again, we do rank as number 2. It is pretty mad. But no, without your guys' support, we couldn't do any of this. Do you know what? We are just 3 average people just having a chat, having a laugh. You guys, it's great having you. You're not only a fly on the wall in these conversations, you're an active part of these conversations. We will always try our best to read out every single comment. Chris, have you any mad conspiracy for me today?
Yeah, actually, I wanted to jump into something. First, I don't know if you already said it, but shout out to Olga. We almost hit 40 today, and she did call it. So, I mean, she wasn't wrong. Wasn't quite there, but still, she deserves all the credit in the world. She brings she's like the good luck charm. So, as always, Olga, we love you. And yesterday, I don't know, I might have been on mute. I don't, or maybe just no one was listening to me, and they're like, "Shut up, Chris, quit talking," because that tends to happen. But no, we got Jacob here, so I'll just ask him. So we've seen recently where the EU is thinking about, hey, maybe we can actually do a ramp up and possibly even do Mars. Within the next 15 years, Mars sample return mission is a possibility. And we know now they're actually, working with RKLB and we know RKLB already has a great plan in place for a Mars sample return mission. The EU doesn't have the infrastructure right now, obviously, and I'm sure they have other launch options, but yeah, I got down that rabbit hole yesterday. I don't think anyone listened to that, but would that be a future option as far as using Neutron for future projects with the EU and the UK as far as when they start ramping things up with their space and them trying to get to Mars or what they're trying to do?
I mean, so first of all, I'll say, yeah, it's definitely possible. I know. I'm trying to think. Like, it depends on how heavy the thing we're trying to send is. If it's, I mean, Neutron's a medium-lift vehicle, so if it's a smaller satellite, then that would make more sense to use a Neutron than it would be like the Ariane 6 or something like that, which is a heavy lift vehicle, or Ariane, or whatever one of the Arianes are. Like, that was the thing that lifted Ariane 5, I think it was the one that lifted the James Webb Telescope, massive, really heavy. But like, if they're trying to send a smaller thing to Mars, it would make way more sense to use us. I mean, that's why they're using us for the Electron mission, for the Aspera mission, right? Aspera? No, it was NASA. Whatever the one is for the ESA. They are using Electron because it's sized right for the launch vehicle. So yeah, I mean, it's definitely possible. It depends on what they're sending. I don't know what their plans would be for what their sample return mission is, or even if what happened. I mean, up until like a year ago, it was kind of trying to be planned to do with NASA, but I don't know now. Sorry, that answer, man. I feel like I ramble.
No,
I don't know. That help out?
No, dude, I love when you ramble. I love when you ramble because I can see the gears turning in your head, and you're being 100% honest, and you're really thinking back on all the information you have, and you're just spilling out info. I don't think you realize it, but you're just, and we hear this a lot, and I wanted to bring this up too. I know we're getting ready to get off here, but on any platform like this, you're going to get some negativity. It happens. But at the same time, it's great when you hear back from people that, especially when they're new investors and they send you random messages in the DMs, and it's very, very positive. And they tell me all the time, the thing is that they go, you know, I just have a lot of fun. You guys are laid back. You don't take yourself too seriously. Your guests are amazing. And, you know, you kind of take the stress off of them and you let them lay back and be themselves. And the truth comes out. And that's what happens. And then they don't realize it, but they're learning a lot while we're just goofing off and having a lot of fun. And that's been very surprising to me. It's not something I expected, but it's something I love about what we're doing here. So always, dude, ramble on. That's why we have you here. That's why we bring Francisco on, Maddie's, Space Ghost. Everybody has that something extra they're bringing to the table, and that's what makes it so strong. It's the community. It's not just me and Liam. So yeah, always, just like I just did. Ramble on, man. Have fun with it.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like you got good points though. Sometimes I feel like I'm trying so hard not to misstate a fact or something that I know, and I try so hard not to like say misinformation or wrong information or something like that I start talking myself in circles. But
anytime,
I don't know,
bro. Anytime you're like, man, I'm thinking about this, but I don't know about it, just DM me, and you know me. I'm the guy that's going to go, screw it. I'm just going to say it live and just let everybody get in the comments and we can figure it out. And then if we're all right, I'll go, yeah, well, Jacob is right. If we're all wrong, like, well, yep, I was an idiot. I was wrong. I've always got your back, bro. Always got your back. And that's anybody out there. Don't ever hesitate. I don't care how crazy it is. You guys know me. I like the conspiracies. I like the rabbit holes. It's fun to me. And I do learn a lot more. So never hold back, bro. Never hold back.
Jumping back to Rocket Lab, we did get this come out last night that Peter has gone to meet the team at Spacecraft headquarters. Is there another contract pending? Do you think we will get an announcement soon?
So I can't remember who found this either. Maybe somebody mentioned earlier. I don't know who it was. It wasn't me. Sorry. Maybe it was Tron. Maybe it was Mott. Maybe it was Aerospace or Stamo or somebody. But I think it was Tron. They're doing Space Tides. It's their 10th anniversary of Space Tides. This is like a conference that they have in Japan. So Peter Beck was a keynote speaker of that today, or I guess earlier today, Japan time. So that's why they were there initially. But in that picture, you can see Richard French there to the right. And then right to the right of Peter is Sandy Turty. I had to learn who this was again today. He's the global head of launch, I believe. Commercial launch or something like that. So those are that's like our top space systems guy, our top launch guy, and then CEO. Like that's some heavyweight. That's a heavyweight team of executives.
Yeah.
Maybe we get something else out of Spacecraft. I'm not sure, but sorry if that's too much information. I don't know. I just
rumor has it we're acquiring Spacecraft.
That's awesome.
Nah, guys, I'm only messing. Then I want to jump straight back to the chat. So Francisco says, "What are you guys planning for the beginning of August? Next earnings calls is right around the corner. Oh, it's going to be a big one. We want this to be mega. We're going to start about 2 weeks before prepping for this. We're going to have guests on left, right, and center. Chris is going to grind his teeth for the whole week because we will be talking about numbers.
Yeah, we've actually
already talked about numbers that week, don't you?
Yeah, we've already talked about this about a month ago, actually, guys. And I know what I'm about to get myself into, but I think it'll be fun because I think that's gonna be a different side of me that you guys have never seen, really. Because I joke about it a lot, but Francisco will tell you, Johnny will tell you, I do know my numbers, and it's kind of like a bill to me. Like my grandparents taught me early on. You can stress about your bills for 30 days a month, or you can stress about them for the 1 day a month you can afford to pay them and just live your life the other 29. So I take the same approach when it comes to earnings. We all watch the day to day. I don't stress it too much unless, I'm playing calls or something like that, obviously. But I don't really pay too much attention to the numbers, again, because there's, a half a dozen or more guys out there that if I need, I can just send them a message, which is awesome. But I do pay a lot of attention. I do my numbers when we get close to earnings and we go into earnings. And Francisco will tell you, I think that's why I even brought the question up. But yeah, we've already planned on having some really good guests. And it's going to be numbers. So yeah, if you're a numbers person, you're going to have a blast. That's for sure. I'm going to hate it, but we'll get through it.
And then IMANOS is celebrating Olga. Johnny says, I think what people don't take into account is the moment China accomplishes something significant in space, the US public, as well as government, will be begging to throw money at US space. That is a thought I've never actually properly contemplated, but I can imagine if the Chinese were close to setting foot on Mars, setting foot on Earth, or they came up with some new, I don't know, space sail, something like that, laser technology. Yeah, I could see the US government firing money into it. Rocket Lab sending humans to Mars begins with communication. We're ready to deliver a Mars Telecommunications Orbiter that will support future human exploration.
I think that's just from the tweet they put out earlier. I think that's just a quote from it.
Oh,
yeah.
Thank you, IMANOS. Did I miss something that Olga said? What was IMANOS celebrating? Francisco says, Jacob, just don't say something is official. You might get in some heat for that. Matt Money says, I want to hear what Jacob does in his free time as a retired Rocket Lab shareholder.
Well, I only retired in February, technically semi-retired, and all I've been doing since then is stressing about figuring out how to get more money so I can comfortably not look at the stock every day. I don't know. I feel like I turned into like information gathering and a little bit of day trading. Nothing on my core position, but more than I ever used to. That's all that's kind of my job now. But are
you enjoying it, or does it ever get to you that you wish you were working?
No, I'm not the job I was at. If I was working for like Rocket Lab, maybe I would. I would, I tried. They just don't have them in the area. I'd have to move, which now I don't have a problem with. But now I don't know. Now I don't see. I don't want to. Like it's so much different. Like when I put in work, it's for myself. Like if I spend time learning like every little detail about the company, it's to strengthen my own case of like, okay, this is when I'm going to buy calls here, or something to like increase the velocity of the money I'm gaining. But no, outside of like investing stuff and I do spend a lot of time on this. My big thing is I'm planning to do a cross country road trip here hopefully I'll be out of here in 2 weeks. And then I'll be on the road for 6 to 8 weeks, all over the country. Yeah, hit up some national parks and stuff on the west. I live over in Oregon, so I'm going to start out here and hit a lot of national parks on the west side of the country, and then.
Have you ever traveled the country before? No.
No,
you need to come out east. You got to come out east.
Yeah, I will be out. Yeah, that's my brother lives out in right outside of DC area, so I'll definitely be out there, and I definitely will be out at Wallops with my paddleboard and my drone. Getting some
space course. Let's go see.
Never before seen. Yeah. Yep. I'm gonna hit up Florida too, or maybe not. If I can't get all the way to Florida, which I know people want me to go there.
Matt said if you stop around Houston, hit him up.
I will, because I want to go down. I really do want to go down to Brownsville and or Brownsville area and stuff. I want to see.
And then
I want to go see the biggest rocket in the world.
Olga's the time traveler. Space goes. Counterpoint, China has a space station, and I feel like the average American doesn't even know that. Who put a post up yesterday about all the different space stations? And then once the International Space Station would be decommissioned, China would be the only presence in a big way, unless we put something else up there. Jacob smokes pipes by the fire with his trusty hound. Clearly hanging out in.
Is that an invite, Johnny? Because I'll swing through New York.
Do you know what? You could live stream it, yeah. Imagine you walking around like New York, yeah, and then just landing into Johnny's gaff.
Just be like, "Hey, Johnny, I'm on live. Let's go."
Francisco says, if you time it right, you can get to Mars and see a Haste launch.
Oh, I think he's talking about the. Wait. He's talking about like the whatever the right terminology is, or the Wallops Island. Is that what you meant?
Oh yeah.
Yes.
I can't remember what the acronym stands for to save my life right now, but yeah.
That's gonna be
it would be cool to see the Haste launch out there because I think they're going to put another one out they have one supposedly, hopefully soon this month, and I think they have another license at least that opens up in September, right, Chris?
Actually, they were supposed to have one last month. They're scheduled for Electron and I think 2 or 3 Haste in the next 3 months overall, maybe 4 months. I could be wrong, but I know it's tight timeline, and they didn't do one last month. So, I mean, we talked about this a bit.
I haven't done any Haste launch yet.
No, not at all.
They haven't done any this year, so they got to have some coming up. Yeah, if I can time it out there, if I'm anywhere near it, I'll definitely get down there for that.
No doubt.
And then, guys, I want to close out with a quote that I found today. So, find yourself a group of people who challenge and inspire you. It will change your life. And that is what this whole Rock Lab community is doing, my guys. My name's Liam. I am one of the Hustle Brothers here. I have my good 2 friends, Chris, founder of the Haste Club, and also one of the Hustle Brothers. And we also have the one and only Jacob Keeton. Guys, if you haven't seen the Ashley Vance interview, make sure to jump across and follow Jacob, number 1, and then number 2, jump across the spaces and watch the recording of that. He is going live tomorrow at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Make sure you're going to be there. We're going to do a shorter stream tomorrow just to make sure everyone can chill out, relax, and get ready for it. Jacob, as always, nice having you on, my guy. You never need an invite. You can come here every day of the week. Love having you on.
Appreciate it.
Love it.